All right, hello and welcome to the TBD College Football Podcast. We are on week 8 of season 2 of the series. Myself, Nuvak, I am joined as always by my good friend and model Maryland citizen, Dugan. Dugan, how are we doing on this fantastic, just great fall Tuesday evening?
Brad, I'm doing all right. It's officially get home from work and you go long pant and sweatshirts, which I love.
Speak of the devil, Dugan, I did that same thing last night.
Feel fantastic.
Felt fantastic. The AC hasn't been running for the first time in probably 7 months.
Trying to save some money before you turn the heat up.
Right? Oh, man. Actually, we're on the 3rd floor, so, we got the roof over top, and, we're poor. And, so, in the winter, we just get all the sunlight on the roof, and it just warms the place up. So our bill, literally goes to nothing, which is nice. Dugan, we came on last week. We're just going to jump right into this. We lied to the good people that listen to this podcast and said, you can take next weekend off. You don't even have to watch.
Yeah, we screwed up there, but I guess that's the microcosm of what's become this college football season.
It has, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. And like we said, as more teams lose a game, the expectation is that most of the teams in the playoff, if not all, will have one loss. And it is definitely shaping up to be just that. We had a number of upsets, but before we get into it, it's sort of, around week 1, if you would have told me this is what, the college football landscape or rankings were going to be, I'd told you that you were high.
Yeah.
But we had, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up here. So if we look at the college football rankings here, we got, and if the playoffs started today, Alabama, number 1, Penn State, 2, Georgia, 3, TCU, 4. What, just a craziness. And I guess it's to be expected, as the words come out of my mouth. Wisconsin, Ohio State, Clemson, Miami, Oklahoma State round out the top 10. So the one-loss teams are starting to creep back up into the top 10, and therefore, start coming back into play as more teams lose. So let's not hesitate. Let's just jump right into this. We'll get to sort of the upsets later, but we'll go over, kind of the big wins. Obviously, Alabama rolling over Arkansas at home. Homecoming, I believe that was that weekend. Nothing new to report there. Georgia rolling over Missouri as well. We had TCU rolling against Kansas, Wisconsin winning, Ohio State winning big against the Cornhuskers. Miami sneaking out a 25-24 victory, and which sort of brings us to the Red River rivalry here with Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma getting the big win on the road, 29-24, in what was a pretty good game. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty impressed with how both teams played, and it was pretty entertaining to watch, at least down to the wire. Next, we got USC and Utah. USC just sneaking one out at home, having to score 14 in the 4th to avoid the upset against the Utes.
And that would have been bad.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Sam Darnold actually had a good night, throwing the ball 50 times, but had three touchdowns, almost 400 yards.
I know we're not an NFL kind of style what we talk about. I just can't fathom these teams that are like tanking now. Let's tank for Sam Darnold. I don't think he's that good. Or I shouldn't say I don't think he's going to be that good. I don't think he's a number one draft pick. I don't think he's that good right now, or would project to be a number one draft pick good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the assumption is if you're going to be the number one draft pick is that you're taking a quarterback, but it all depends on who's up there, who's in love with them. I think Sam Darnold and Rosen are better than some of the prospects that came out, like Golf and Wentz at that time.
Interesting. I like the dude from Wyoming, Josh Allen.
Dude, his statistics are like bad, but apparently there's just something weird going on. He has like a brand new offensive line. Like,
I think he also forces, because his team is that bad, he forces a shit ton of balls.
But, who knows? Let's move on though. Oklahoma State winning big against Baylor. No shocker there. Michigan sneaking out a win in Indiana. Hoosier football, alive and well. Had to go to overtime, and only the first round, unfortunately. And Michigan escapes. Dude, I'm worried about this Michigan team. I took a bet earlier on this season with the amount of new guys that Harbaugh had coming in this year, even though they were his guys, and this is starting to get into the no excuse realm for him for winning championships. This does not look good, and they need to right the ship pretty quick. With the schedule that's coming up, this could get ugly real quick. Maybe 4 losses on the season, I can see.
So I was having this conversation today, and I was thinking about. I think they're going to get 4 losses. And just call me crazy right now. I'm just spitballing here. Chuck Pagano gets fired from Indianapolis. Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan and goes to Indianapolis to be with Andrew Luck and be an NFL head coach. And guess who takes his job? This person is a Michigan man.
Brady Hoke.
Les Miles.
I've seen crazier things in sports.
It's almost too perfect.
I just don't know. I think the Colts would literally have to back up a truck of money. I think Chuck Pagano's gone, yes, but
he stinks. He's a bad coach.
He is a bad coach. That was a tough game last night to watch. But man, the NFL is not a 100% control game. Harbaugh doesn't have to answer to anybody right now. I mean, you can say the AD, but that's a joke. I just think if he goes to Indianapolis or any other NFL team, he's going to hate the fact that he has to answer to somebody. I think
it's fair.
I think these guys, although it can be more stressful because the margin for error is so small, I think they are happier with being in college football because they have just absolute power. Nick Saban can run for governor of Alabama tomorrow and win. Senate, anything. The House. It's just nuts. And whatever he says goes. And I think that's why some of these really successful college head coaches avoid the NFL because although the glamour and glory of winning a Super Bowl is nice, I think you have more control over your program and your outcome even in the college world. For example, you are in charge of recruiting. You're not making the decision for these kids, but you at least have a say in who you're getting, the types of players that you want. You're running the plays that you want. You're picking the coaches, and it's just I'm getting off track. But I just think the absolute power standpoint, obviously, the more money helps too. But it's just a different sport. I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just something to think about.
So we will jump into sort of the upsets of the week, starting with the SEC. LSU gets back on track. Interim Ed gets another win at home. He's 5-2, 2-1 in the SEC right now, with his one loss to Mississippi State, which is starting to look worse and worse. Auburn is also 5-2 and 3-1 in the SEC. This one was at home, required a fourth quarter comeback, and the title says stuns Auburn, but I just think maybe LSU just needed to find its rhythm and get going this season. I could be totally wrong. And
no,
Interim Ed goes 5-5, or something like that, and loses his job. So
no, you're not wrong. It's just I don't even know if these teams stun each other. I mean, they're just not good football, not the best football teams playing against us. So I'm not sure there's much stunning going on. I mean, this has been a recurring theme of none of these games really truly matter because there's Alabama there. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. And I think it's safe to say that maybe the SEC isn't bad, but it's just okay across the board, except for Georgia and Bama right now.
Exactly.
And because the East is so below par, I can't really tell what Georgia is. So, Georgia can lose 2 this week, I just don't think anybody's safe right now in the SEC just because of the sort of the monotony of it.
No, I think you're right. It's probably with 1.5 teams that are really good. We really want to see what Georgia can do, i.e. in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I think LSU might have another loss before they see Bama early next month, and then I see Auburn losing another, having 3 losses on the record when they play in the Iron Bowl. It's just one of those things that everyone plays each other in the West, and I think they'll end up beating each other up, and it just won't look pretty. But the SEC is pretty much decided right now until somebody proves me wrong.
I still, when I was having this conversation with Corny, people do not keep. He was bashing Georgia, saying it's going to be a cakewalk. I think it's going to be an excellent game. That's me though.
The only thing about that is, and I can see. Let me start over. Georgia is just going to get better and better until this SEC championship game. The more time Kirby Smart has with this program, the better. The more games they play, obviously, the better they get. The unfortunate thing about that is the same thing's going on the other, the other side of the coin with Bama. But I think Bama is just getting stronger and stronger. I think they figured out Jalen Hurts, and they know his limitations, and therefore they're not going to let that be a weakness. Where last year I felt like they forced him a lot. I think they're just going to run the ball down your throat like they used to. So we'll see. I think it'll be a good litmus test here, and who knows? Come first week in December, Georgia is 2, Bama's 1, and we'll get into that scenario after we get done talking about these upsets.
Yes.
So, let's go to the Pac-12. More specifically, my home state, Washington, and the state of emergency that it's in. Washington loses to Arizona State on the road. They score 7 points in this one in just a dog of a game. They trailed 13-0 for most of the game. Just an ugly game. Obviously, we're not expecting anything out of Arizona State, but Washington just laid an absolute egg. And they were who we thought they were, or whatever that coach says.
I've been hating them since last year.
Yeah.
So I finally got karma.
Yep. This is bad. Arizona State sucks. Washington sucks.
All right, I'm done about Washington. Brad, because we have both agreed we love Wazoo. It's a Wazoo podcast.
Oh, Wazoo podcast. Well, unfortunately, they got the shit pushed in by Rosen out there in Cal. Oh, I'm not Rosen. Cal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They got to quit these Friday night games.
Yeah, it's screwing with me. 37-3.
Not good.
Not good. A lot of work to do. 5 interceptions by Luke Falk. 5.
Not good.
Holy hell. I'm looking at his stat line right now. He was 28 for 43. That means that 32 of the 43 attempts were caught by at least somebody. That's nuts. That is nuts. And then we get to the last and greatest upset, which made Corny very happy on Friday. Clemson loses a dog to Syracuse. Again, Bryant goes down in this one for Clemson. The backup's not great, but still sort of got the job done. The thing that stands out with me on this one, Dugan, and then I'll let you kind of chime in here, is that Syracuse was allowed 27 points. I think that's almost double any points allowed in any other game, if I'm, not wrong here. For Clemson's defense that was touted as almost better than Bama's this year. So I was really surprised. It's on the road, Friday night game. It's a little weird.
Syracuse tough to get up for.
They're wearing orange too, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not a good look.
No. I'm trying to see who Clemson plays next week to see if it was.
Well, and that's the other thing. They're on a bye this week.
Oh.
So they're on a bye this week. Gives time for Bryant to get healthy again.
That kid's dead.
Well, all right.
Sorry.
Then comes back, plays Georgia Tech in the triple option. Then, week after that, plays NC State, which is slowly but surely climbing up those polls. And they had a big win this week, too. Well, not a big win, but they beat Pitt 35-17. So NC State's not looking terrible.
No, big win.
So, we'll see. Last year, I think it was week 11. No, not week 11. It was something like that, where...
one thing that pisses me off that it's Will Corney's Syracuse. That helps his Alabama. Like, that just makes me... That's the most Will Corney thing ever. It makes me so angry. Beyond belief.
That's true.
Like, I couldn't even really enjoy that loss because I hate Clemson. But I'm like, there goes Will Corney cheering for another team that's done well. And I just kill it. It pains me.
I understand.
So, sorry, but hey, we're going to step back up, though. We're good.
We're going to step back. So, as November inches its way towards college football, it's crazy that we're almost done with October. By the way, what are you going to be for Halloween?
So, I'm not a big Halloween guy.
Yeah, me neither.
I will normally go, like, the day of and grab something stupid on. It's normally a good night. Everyone goes out. It's historically a pretty good college football night. So I'll probably just go to a party just to hang out and watch college football and then just, like leave. I really don't care.
Fair enough. As November comes, playoff committee starts talking again. Real interesting here. So, I read an article today, and if you have another idea you would like to talk about, please do after this. I read an article the other day. So, the remaining strength of schedule for Notre Dame is the second toughest.
They got a tough schedule.
They win out with the one loss to Georgia. Georgia loses to Bama in a nail-biter of an SEC championship, which is looking more likely every week that we count down to it. So the playoff committee then looks at the Big Ten that might have beaten the hell out of each other. Looks at the Big 12 might have beaten the hell out of each other. The Pac-12 that might have beaten the hell out of each other or might have just not been very good at all. And then maybe Clemson gets in. Or maybe in Ohio State. We don't know. But that could mean that 3 Power Fives are left out with a Notre Dame, with a one loss to Georgia. That was a really good loss. With Georgia, with one loss to Alabama. That could be a really good loss. And that's 2. I saw this crazy scenario. But I just think it just makes college football so much fun because you get to talk about these crazy scenarios. And there's no set, it's a playoff bracket. You got to play to get in. It's all by committee and opinion and all this crap. And you just don't know, and I think it makes it really fun.
Now that is the year that makes the committee open this thing up.
To 8?
8 could be a lot. I could do 6 with 2 buys or something like that.
Interesting.
I don't know. Just something that's 4. I don't think 4 is enough. I don't 16. I think we can find a number that can incorporate a couple because, I think it allows for there to be a little more. It allows you to have a couple hiccups, which I think is good because nobody rarely plays a perfect season. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree.
Take away the cupcake game and throw that into the playoff. That's just me, though.
I like it. All right, so this week, interesting game, and then we'll get into our picks. Alabama at home against Tennessee, rivalry game. Butch Jones is or is not fired after this game. Dugan, go.
No, he can't be fired.
That means he will be 3-4. Oh, by the way, Alabama is laying 34 points. 35. Holy God.
Is Brad going to go on record and say, is that your dog, Brad?
No.
All right, good.
Not my dog. Not my dog, dog. Rub-a-dub-dub. I will save the best for last. Oklahoma State, Texas. I only assume that's a day game. Sure it is. 12 o'clock. At Texas, Oklahoma State coming in, laying 7 points. Dugan, what you got?
I got Oklahoma State just because Texas played Oklahoma extremely tough. Mike Gundy will have them ready to roll.
I like it.
I do like home dogs, though. I love home dogs. Home dogs are something I really enjoy, but I can't do it there.
I really thought Tom Herman would not be 3-4 after week 7. I'm sorry, week 8.
It's his first year.
Yeah, but I just didn't think it would be that bad. And because I think Oklahoma State comes in there and just lays the wood.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I'll eat the points as well. Let's go to the SEC. Ole Miss hosting a now number 24 LSU. The monotony continues with LSU favored by 6.5 points. Boy, oh boy, do I see LSU laying an egg and Ole Miss getting the win here. Give me the points.
Brad, I am right there with you. Home dog, I think, it's going to be a amazing game. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Man, gosh. I don't know what to think of any, both of those programs. Let's go to USC Notre Dame.
3.5.
3.5. Dugan, NBC game. It's in South Bend, Indiana. 11-13, both with one loss. Who you got?
I got to do it, Brad. I got to pick Notre Dame, and I'm picking them because I think I'm going to see if this makes sense. They had, obviously, that night game against Georgia, played pretty well. They had to clean a couple things up. They understand how good they are now with being able to use that kind of loss as some evidence, or not evidence, but being able to kind of see what the big game feel and night game Notre Dame feels like. I think they're going to be able to use that and beat USC.
USC has just been all over the map this year. Games in which they look really good and then turn around next week and look really bad. Last week they looked really bad. I think they come in here focused and look really good, beat Notre Dame by a good 14 points.
Wow.
Good
no faith, huh?
14 points. Before we get to the big title fight here, I just want to make sure that there's nothing real interesting going on.
I'm going to mark that down, Brad. 14 point.
I'm going to write that down. So the marquee game, 7:30 ABC. Michigan traveling outside of Michigan. Who'd have thunk it? And we got ourselves a nice old-fashioned whiteout in Beaver Stadium and against Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State favored by 9.5 points. Dugan, what you thinking?
I'm taking Penn State.
You're taking Penn State, and you think
that place is rocking at night too. That place, Shaquan Barkley's gonna be able to ball out.
You know, oh man. Pretty sure I was listening this week to somebody in my office, overheard it, said Penn State hasn't played anybody that good. And I was like, you know what? I could see that argument.
I could see that argument. I mean, you also have to factor there was away at Iowa at night. It's a pretty tough place to play.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough place to play.
It's not the best team, but it's a pretty
It's not fun.
matchup.
That's not fun. So, I think and Michigan just looks bad. Like there's just nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
They've also had their bye, so it's not like they're fixing anything anytime soon. Michigan loses by 3. So give me the points.
Bradley, there we go. Now's the fun part, Brad. I have these numbered down 1 to 3. I think you're going to pick my number 1 for your game.
Let me just look.
I did some research too.
Yeah, let me just look at the board here and make sure there's not anything, because I got my 1, and I don't want to spoil it. I'm going Kansas at TCU.
Phew, thank God.
You didn't have it
No,
at.
I know, but I wasn't going to write that game down. I really liked that game. Kansas is so bad.
Kansas is really terrible.
They're really, really bad. Though they almost held on. They made it close last week or two, but they are bad.
TCU wins by like 60 points.
So Brad's taking TCU. Okay. I am taking Wisconsin over Maryland minus 24.5.
Wow.
Maryland's on like their fifth quarterback. They got their fourth string got hurt last week, and it's homecoming for Wisconsin. And
Hey.
Brad, we all know you win big at homecoming, you get donations.
Oh, that's true.
So that's what my mind is.
Fair enough. You laying low this weekend, Dugan?
What's up?
You laying low this weekend?
What'd you say?
I said, are you laying low?
This weekend?
Yeah.
Brad, I'm going to Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Why didn't you mention this? You gonna fall in love, Dugan?
What's up?
You gonna fall in love?
Probably.
Probably.
I'm excited though. I gotta find out if we got tickets.
That would help.
No. See, that's where I hear it's not a big deal because everyone just watches every game on the TV at the Grove, and you just tailgate throughout the whole game and after the game. Like no one goes and you just go up to someone's RV that has like all the games on.
Interesting.
I don't know, but I definitely want to go in and watch the game. But it wouldn't be a bad. It's like a win-win because I would go inside and watch the game and have a time of my life, or go outside, enjoy the game, and watch Notre Dame and have a time of my life in the Grove.
Fair enough.
So we'll see there, Bradley.
All right, Dugan.
All right. Well, hey, be safe. Love you.
Go Caps.